let's just get right down to it. Because a lot's happened. I got a lot to tell you. You'll be happy to know that I've got this nice fancy plant mat now. No more random wood slab. Though part of that was just I couldn't bring the wood slab with me. It felt a little silly to bring it because it was literally just a wooden slab from a project that didn't work out. So, where's that plant I was going to repot? Did I lose it already? Let's check for it. I've only had one cup of coffee this morning. So yeah, I moved. And you'll see me filming in a different location. Here's my Drosera. It has been a bit on the struggle bus, a little bit on the challenge train. And I think it's because I tried this kind of no drainage, clear container situation. And when I did it for this one, I just had this party cup. And you might notice that this is not a suitable container for a plant. It's a party cup. So I think it's just been drying out a bit too fast and maybe a little bit too toasty in here. However, my new room in my new house has a south-facing window, so I have been able to maintain more consistent dew droplets. Hey camera, I need you to show the audience the dew droplet. Wow, it's not showing up at all. But yeah, good dew. It's the window a little sticky, which I appreciate sometimes. And I'm hoping that if I just repot it in a container that is not, a party cup, it'll do a little better. I mean, even here, like the moss that grows on top of the substrate, this used to be green all over on top right here, and now it is brown. It just doesn't stay anymore no matter how much I water it. So we're gonna give it a nice big pot. This one is a nice flat back self-watering situation. I did my best to clean it. I think I'll give it another clean now, actually. I try not to introduce fertilizers or nutrients that might hurt the carnivorous plants. As you may or may not know, they can't have too many nutrients. They will die. They are adapted for a nutrient-poor environment. And you got to replicate that in your house. So you might notice that the title of this video is I Quit LECA. And you might notice in the background, plants here, they're not in LECA. They're not in semi-hydro. It's in potting mix. Check it out. That's potting mix, right? These other plants are in potting mix too, and I'll show you them later. But I did quit LECA, and actually I quit it a long time ago, and I was going to make a video about it, and then I had to move. I did film some of the transferring process. I never got around to editing it because life comes at you fast. But it sounds weird because I was talking it up. I was so happy about it. I had all these ideas about what LECA could do for my plants. The reality is a little less rosy. And I'll tell you why. For me, when I was looking up, pros and cons of semi-hydro, pros and cons of LECA, a lot of the cons that came up were essentially, it is so much of a pain to mix the nutrient solution and to mix the fertilizer, and I couldn't keep up with that. That was really not my experience. I actually really liked having to do the nutrient mix and fertilizer because I knew that my plants were getting nutrients every time. There was no, I forgot to fertilize. They're getting fertilizer all the time. Every time. All the time. They always have nutrients. They're never going to run out. That was a big benefit for me, that they were getting fertilized consistently. I am lucky that I had access to a single panel nutrient. I guess if you have like a 3-panel nutrient where you need to mix it in a very specific order, it is more of a pain, which, yeah, totally. I wouldn't want to do that either. So I specifically went for a single panel nutrient. I went for Dynagrow Foliage Pro, which was pretty easy to use. Balancing the pH was a bit annoying, but I only had to do it like once every couple weeks, and it took like 10 minutes, and I just didn't mind that part. The other part that I actually really enjoyed about it was being able to see the roots anytime. I love seeing the roots of my plants. I think they're fascinating, and I think it takes out some of the guesswork of, do I need to repot it? Why is it drying out? Why is it behaving like that? Why is it yellowing? Because I can just look at the roots anytime I want, without disturbing the plant and uprooting it or pulling it out of the pot or anything. That was really convenient. The downside was managing water quality. I think I did get a Brita filter, which did help. Initially, I didn't do anything for water quality. Here comes a big snap as I put this back together. There we go. Initially, I didn't do anything about water quality. I was like, oh, this person on YouTube uses the tap water, and the tap water in my area is pretty good, so what the heck? Even though water quality is good for people, that doesn't mean it's good for plants that need to be in a clay ball life. I started getting a lot of mineral buildup, and a lot of plants, leaves coming off, rotting off. I was doing a lot of flushing. I was doing a lot of root maintenance, which I did not enjoy at all. So I did switch to using a Brita filter to filter the water, and it worked out, actually. And it worked so well that I just had to keep using the Brita filter. I'm just picking little bits of grass out of the sphagnum currently that I'm going to use. The big problems for me were as follows. I had a hard time finding information when I was having problems, right? A lot of the information out there I was finding was how to convert your plant, how to convert your plant. This is how you convert your plant. And then beyond that, there was just nothing, right? Like there was one point when I had a mealybug scare. I actually filmed a video about this, and then I said nobody is going to benefit from this at all because, maybe they will. I don't know. I might post it, but it was a bad video. You get a lot of duds when you're a beginner at this. When I had a mealybug situation, I was trying to find out if I could use systemic insecticides or systemic pesticides in LECA the same way you do with soil, and I couldn't find anything. It was how to convert your plant, and that was it. That was the end of the conversation, which is false. You can't just be like, okay, you converted, congratulations. There's life after converting the plant. That's why you convert the plant, to give it more life. So I kind of had to experiment, and it worked okay. I guess I can make a separate video about it, but it worked okay. But I had to risk it. I had to risk potentially harming my plants because I couldn't find any information. The other big issue I was having was the clay smells bad. Have you ever smelled wet clay? It's gross. I think it's gross. Maybe I'm a delicate little flower. I know the smell of wet clay is so gross. I thought it was so gross. I don't know if it was because my plants were in a cabinet, so it kind of held the wet smell a little bit. But every time I opened the cabinet to do any maintenance, I was smelling wet clay, and I just found that so unpleasant, so unpleasant. I just did not like that at all, and I hated that. It was actually enough to be one of the main reasons I stopped doing this. A semi-hydro thing, the clay smell was just driving me up the wall. Another thing that people, I think, need to talk about more, and I think they don't talk about, I'm still picking out grass. This is not a high-quality sphagnum for carnivorous plants. It is sphagnum from the hardware store, and it's not very good. Another thing that people don't talk about enough is, people put their plants in semi-hydro or hydroponics or in LECA to make them grow faster, which is awesome. Great. Cool. We love that. We love that for them. The big problem with that is if you have pests, well, they're going to go for the tenderest, easiest part of your plants to, infect. What part is that, folks? It's the new growth. And what does your plant have the most often? New growth, if it's growing fast. They're going to multiply more quickly. They're going to spread to your plants, the other plants, more quickly because there's just so much easy food for them. And if you're not ready for that right from the get-go, you're going to have a bad time, in my opinion. Learned that the hard way. Didn't see anyone talking about that on YouTube.com. So I'm talking about it now. We're gonna give her a little pruneroni. I wanted to do semi-hydro for my plants to streamline the care. Not have to stick my finger in and see if it's the plant needs water every 7 seconds or whatever for at the time I had 40 or 50 plants. I have significantly fewer now for a variety of reasons that I'll get into later as part of this discussion. In LECA, I wanted to streamline it, and with the root maintenance and the constant vigilance for pests after that one mealybug scare, I was not enjoying that. The other thing is, I did just say I had 50 plants at one point, or 40 to 50 plants. I had to really be honest with myself and realized that one of the main reasons I switched my plants to LECA, yeah, I wanted them to grow faster. Yeah, I wanted them to be, more streamlined maintenance. Yeah, I wanted them all to be fertilized every single watering, so I wasn't worrying about missing a fertilization cycle. And the main thing really was that I was bored, right? I was bored in the plant hobby and my plant hobby, rather. I was bored and I had this idea that I could have a little plant business, little side gig of propagating plants and rooting them in LECA, getting them nice and big and strong, and then selling them. I learned the hard way that unless you've got like rare plants, uncommon plants, trendy plants, people are not interested. What I was finding myself doing to get sales on Etsy.com was really, really, really underpricing my plants. Because at that point, I had so many propagations ready to sell that I was running out of space for like my life, and I just needed the plants out the door. So I was selling at a loss. Also, Etsy's a money pit. Okay, you got to pay to have the shop. You got to pay listing, commission, shipping. It's terrible. It's really terrible, and people kind of expect a lot in an Etsy package. They expect like a little thank you gift, and no, don't forget to leave me a review. And once I got to a point where I was at a place where I could just share the rest of the plants or give them away, I did close the shop. But it really it became an excuse to just propagate plants because I was bored. I was bored. And there was a little, a instant gratification or quick gratification that came with propagating a plant in LECA and having it root so quickly and having it grow so quickly. It was like a dopamine button for me that took a few days to activate, but it was like a dopamine button for me, to the detriment of my plants and like the rest of my life. That might just be a me issue, but if you're like me, if you find yourself identifying with I'm bored, so I'm gonna rearrange my entire system for something, don't do semi-hydro yet. It's an expensive thing to mess up on. It wasn't that expensive. That was another thing. I wanted to save money. That was my idea. I could save money by not buying soil. I could save money by I could reuse the clay balls. I could use less peat. That did not come to pass. I did make my own pots, right? I was not spending money on fancy pots. I was not spending money on let's upon or anything. Here's the moment of truth. I was not spending money on that stuff. But I was spending money on, I bought this huge thing of LECA from the store. I mean, it was like just this huge, it was 50 liters of LECA. Here, pour out the extra water. That might help me. Oh, not a ton of extra water. There's a problem right there. This isn't helping the plant store any water. That's bad news bears. How am I going to get this out? My God. Am I going to have to cut it? I hope not. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Woo! All right. She is soaking. I love me a root. So let's look at them. Let's look at these roots. Here we are. Okay. So these black things here, these are the roots of the plant. Come on, focus. Focus. We got some plant roots there. And I did see it on this side. Right here, see that little swirl? See that little swirl? That's going to be another Drosera plant, a little baby. I love this plant because of how quickly it grows. If it's doing well and it's not being bullied by me and kept in a little party cup. If I could, I'd be like a plant root scientist. That'd be dope. Anyway, yeah, it was too easy to just keep propagating plants. It was too easy to buy more LECA, because, oh, this is such a good deal. It's such a good value. It's such a good price. So I should have it for when my plants get bigger, because they're going to get so big in LECA, which that's another thing. They did get really big really fast, to the point where I couldn't keep up, actually. I could not keep up with how quickly the plants were growing. And that's a problem, right? That's a problem. You can't neglect your plants because you can't keep up with them. That is not kind. That is unkind to your plants. I need more sphagnum. So to sum it all up, it was too easy to spend money. It was too easy to propagate plants. I was drowning in plants. I tried to start a business. It went horribly because Etsy's a money pit, and I do not have the wherewithal to run a business in a competitive run situation like, the plant hobby, which is, as you know, kind of competitive at times. I also just needed to do so much root maintenance. It just wasn't working out for me. And really, the clay just smelled so bad. That was a big factor. Y'all, nobody talks about how the clay smells. That's a big problem. Stinky clay is a big problem. Not my favorite. Let me use that water. Not my favorite thing. Stinky clay. So LECA's over. So if you are thinking about switching to LECA, here's what you should know. The upfront cost is more than you would think. People say, oh, it's about $100 to start up between the LECA itself and the fertilizer. And while that is probably true, you also need to, change the kind of pots your plants are in. Maybe you want to go fancy. Maybe you want to get a bunch of deli cups and solder holes in them for that, which is perfectly legitimate. I did that. I know that the fancy plant people would probably frown on that. I don't know. Maybe they won't. You need new plants. New pots. Either that or you would need to really, really, really clean the pots you already had to get all the dirt out, because you really, really got to watch out for root rot, which is way, way easier to happen in conversions. Not necessarily plants that are already rooted in the LECA and they're used to it. It's not really as much of a concern in my experience. But in conversions, yeah, you really got to watch out for root rot. People were not really forthcoming, in my experience. People were not forthcoming about just how much you have to watch the plant when you are converting it. They would be like, oh, just clean the roots super duper well and make sure your LECA is really, really clean, and then put your plant in there and then you're done. And that's just not true. Think of it like this. Repotting a plant is like moving your plant to a new dorm room, a new room, right? New room in your house, maybe a new bed. If it's the same substrate, the same lighting conditions, whatever, it's kind of like that. And there's some adjustment required. Ooh, look at that algae, gross. It's kind of like that when you just repot a plant that's in pretty much all the other same conditions. This is a yogurt cup, by the way. I really enjoy using the yogurt cup as planters because it's just little and it's clear. Unfortunately, not getting a lot of root action visibility. But, I rooted this cutting a little while ago. Let's check it out. Let's give it a whirl here. Come on, out we go. Woo! Oh boy. Oh, actually, the roots were kind of stuck to the sides. And I'll show you now. Look, little baby coming. And we got roots coming at the bottom there. Not much else going on. But this plant was definitely doing better than the big one that was in the party cup, this little guy, even though I think it just had kept water longer because I was using the tray method. What was I talking about? I was talking about, oh my God, I need to use my thinker, use my noggin. Had to stop and redo some audio mixing because all of a sudden it was really echoey. Anyway, so what I was saying was, yeah, so you repot a plant in all the same conditions, and it's like moving it to a new room. You repot a plant and maybe put it in a different room, and it's like moving it to a new house. Now, imagine crinkling this bag. Imagine now that you have repotted a plant and changed the substrate and changed the way it gets its nutrients, right? That's like moving the plant to a different city. Moving your plant into LECA is like moving it to a different city. You don't just move your possessions and your body and then you're done, right? You got to change your address. You got to move your prescriptions over from your pharmacy. You got to, I mean, there's so much you got to do. It's not like moving to a new room. And you got to make new friends, maybe, and figure out a new doctor and figure out a new dentist. And there's just so much adjustment that you have to do when you move to a new city, maybe even a new state, county. That's what it's like to move a plant into LECA. So if you're just sticking it in the substrate and calling it good, yeah, oh, you cleaned it so well, and you're just not gonna you're not gonna have success. In my experience, it's just not successful. You do need to monitor the plant for root rot. You need to monitor it for shock. You need to make sure the roots are actually clean, because there's things that you're gonna miss when you're doing this. Why can't I get this sphagnum moss wet? Sloppy nasty. So it's not as simple as just cleaning the roots super duper 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 well and moving them over. You could disinfect the roots. You could rub them with rubbing alcohol. You could, there's a lot you can do to mitigate the risk. And obviously, for lots of people, it works well enough. It didn't work for me. I did not have a big epidemic of plants rotting necessarily, but I did have a few issues. There was a point where I did not clean the LECA properly, and I had soaked it in a reused yogurt cup that wasn't all the way clean. And the LECA had some bacteria on it. And of course it started to root rot my plants. Ew, it's like slimy on top of the little guy. That's gross. Anyway, I'm just gonna nestle in that bad boy. It was really gross, and I had to take the plants out, wash the LECA off, replace it with new LECA, clean off the plant's roots so they didn't rot more. I mean, obviously, maybe to someone who's not me, it would be super duper obvious that you need to use a container that has been cleaned and disinfected to soak the LECA. I thought I'd cleaned it and disinfected it, but from that point, I did not use repurposed containers. I just used, well, actually, no, I did. I just made sure they had been run through the dishwasher to mitigate that chances of that happening again. It's just a lot. I have a lot of feelings. And sometimes when I was trying to get help, right, about my situation, and any situation with the plants really, oh, it smells weird. Oh, there's this growth. Oh, there's this buildup. Oh, there's this worm, whatever. Sometimes people had good advice, and sometimes the LECA evangelists would just take it really personally that you were questioning the efficacy of their almighty medium, and they would they'd kind of attack me. They'd be like, oh well, it's it's always going to be better than soil. It's not the LECA's fault. That's a you problem. And I'm like, I'm not saying it's not a me problem, fam. I'm just trying to fix this problem I'm having. So that's another thing too, and I take umbrage with some YouTubers who I'm not going to name, because I respect all the plant YouTubers. However, some YouTubers, I think, push, LECA as a cure-all a little bit too hard. I did see one video where someone was growing gesneriads, things like African violets, calarias, goldfish plants. And they were saying, if your gesneriads are not doing well, it's because you need to have them in a semi-hydroponic setup. This is false. I don't know if you know this about African violets necessarily, but they do need a dry period. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you can never grow African violets in semi-hydroponics. What I am saying is it's not a cure-all. Anyway, I've repotted this Drosera, and I just spilled all its water. Oh boy. Anyway, I was trying to show you. Repotted this Drosera. I think it should do better now that it's in an opaque container, and I just consolidated them for space. Lucky for me, I've got a nice south-facing window. So, yeah. So let's clean up and move on to the plants that don't need moss. On the topic of carnivorous plants, I got this adorable little pinguicula a few weeks back, and she's not looking so adorable anymore. Look at that. She's soggy. She's a little soggy. I bought it, and then we had a heat wave. And as you may know, you really can't let most carnivorous plants dry out. So I said, oh, I should water it. So I watered it and watered it and watered it and watered it. And, well, she's not happy. I'm hoping that if I just leave it alone, it will bounce back. Because I would like a pinguicula. I would like a butterwort. They're very cute. Speaking of plants that could make unexpected comebacks, I've got this begonia abdullapeyi, I think. I bought it in January, and it was tiny, tiny. It only had one leaf. And then, because the substrate was so saturated for shipping, the little plant, the roots actually fell out of the substrate, and the plant melted. It just kind of disintegrated from being so wet. And I said, you know what? It might come back. So I put it in a dome, and I watered it, and I just left it alone. And look, 7 months later, we've got how many leaves? A lot. And I mean, it was great. I mean, I left for a trip for a week, and I came back, and there was a new leaf from just dirt, from nothing. Well, not nothing. It just looked like nothing to the outside observer. So, quick description of the plant for those of you who are not eyeballing the screen. It is a small begonia with textured leaves, a little bit rough. The leaves are green and oblong shaped, a little bit of oval. The venation is red, and underneath the leaf, the venation is actually a darker red. I think this plant is just so adorable. This is a high humidity plant. It should be in a terrarium, and I will put it in a terrarium one day. Today, though, I just want to check on the roots because I'm noticing it drying out really quickly. It actually wilted the other day. So I'm wondering if maybe it's outgrown this itty bitty pot. This is why I liked the clear vessels. Like, one of the things I took from LECA, like when I transitioned away, was the clear vessel strategy, because I really like seeing the inside of the pot. Unfortunately, now that I'm actually giving my plants sunlight from a window instead of a grow light, I think the clear pots might be a problem. I don't even know how I'm going to get this out. Oh boy. I really don't want to hurt it. It's so delicate. Oh, okay. Huh. So, I mean, it could go either way. I could repot it today. I could. I don't think I will. I think, the roots, yeah, there's a little bit of rooting on the bottom there. But I am not seeing any circling. I'm not seeing any root boundedness. And it's doing fine, other than, me needing to water it a bit more. So we're not going to repot the begonia abdullapeyi today. She's done. Her time is up. Her time on the screen is over. Coffee break. I'm still enjoying the coffee, even though it's room temperature. This one is my Paulownia pulchra trailing watermelon. I don't know why it's called trailing watermelon begonia. It's not a begonia, it's a Paulownia. When I showed this to you in August last year in my plant tour, it was little, it was tiny. And I had it in LECA and in soil. Well, I've consolidated it since, and I've put it in this yogurt cup. This is in a no drainage system, so I'll show you the bottom here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there is a drainage layer of LECA on the bottom. And just to be clear, this is not rocks for drainage. This is clay balls that wick moisture up to the potting mix. Okay? And it's been working for a while, but my plants don't seem to like my new house now that they're in this system. This substrate is drying out really, really quickly. I mean, literally, I watered this yesterday, and today it's like powder. It's like dust. The leaves have suffered a little bit of scorching. You can see it a little bit here. Hey yo, it's Editor Plant Pod here. I've got better examples of my scorching situation here. My Peperomia Rosso, if you see on this leaf, these leaves have some yellowing on them. That's scorched foliage. Why is it so blurry? There it is, right there. On my African Violet, I'll show you. If you see, this flower has some bleaching on it, and then back here on the edges of the leaves there is some browning, some yellowing. That is essentially some pretty moderate to severe sunburn. And finally, on my Hope peperomia, this leaf fell off. This was just absolutely spent. This is not a good representation, but this leaf, come on, focus, damn it. There we go. A little bit of problematic situation there. And then I don't know if this counts as scorching or sun stressing, but this is not the deep red that I usually see on a sun or light soaked paulownia like that was in my terrarium. This is a, it's kind of a sickly, faded, and the red is showing because the green is faded. So you can also see here, the plant has some really dried out leaves, and I've been trying to pick off the spoiled foliage, but it just keeps coming back. It just keeps coming back. And finally, where is it? Finally, what's up with this leaf? What looks like someone's been munching on this leaf? What's going on? What's going on there? Who's munching? Who's munching on that? Is it just damage and like the piece fell off? Did I bump it or what? I don't know. I will say with the new amount of sunlight, the plant is growing faster. I think sun is always going to be better than a grow light. Maybe. That seems to be the conclusion I am coming to in this matter. While I've been talking up the wonders of clear containers, because you can see the roots. If it has nutrition facts for your Noosa yogurt, maybe not so useful. Will I need to check the roots? Will I need to upend the plant? I think I might. I guess I gotta. I guess this is the moment. I don't know how successful I'm gonna be here. Oh boy. Oh, she's loose. She's loosey goosey. Oh wow. All right, check it out. So down here, it's crumbly, which I think is good. But I mean, again, I watered this plant yesterday. It's dry. It's not like powder dry, but it's dry. All the substrate just kind of fell off. So if I look at it side by side with the pot, is it ready to be repotted? And the answer is, I don't know. Now that I've uprooted this plant, I should probably try to put it back in. I mean, maybe in a month I could repot it. Maybe in a month. I don't know. It's a tough choice. It's a tough choice. I'm going to put it back in for now, to the best of my ability, now that I've kind of ruined its life here. So this is my forbidden cereal. Put the LECA back in at the bottom. And again, this is all dry. It's dry. I watered it yesterday and it's dry. I could just be more generous with the watering for a while. Again, my philosophy, I used to be really repot happy. My philosophy now is, unless the plant is like, I need a pot now or I will make your life hell and die, I try not to repot it. You're uprooting it, you're moving it to a new dorm, you're moving it to a new house, and it does cause stress to the plant. And there is the other factor of, if the vessel is too big for your plant, there is an increased chance of root rot. This must be riveting for you to watch. You must like me a lot if you're still watching. You should like my video, subscribe. I'm cutting that out. That's stupid. That was so cringe, man. That was so cringe, man. Uh-oh. Will it fit? But will it blend? Here we go. Here we go. Right back in. Oh, uh-oh. She fell out. Could put this in a terrarium, but I'm going to try to put it back in with her buddies. There you go. Here's my Syngonium. This plant was from the hardware store. Ended up being 6 plants in one. I had 3 in LECA and 3 in potting mix. They both did fine, honestly, even though like each of these 3 plants were in different kinds of potting mix. They really all did fine. I ended up, of course, giving away the ones in LECA because I just was not vibing with LECA anymore. Because I've got it in this tall container, and this, I think this is a success story of a clear container, right? It's just a fast food drink cup. The roots were doing this long and skinny situation, and I've been able to watch as the roots spread throughout the pot, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's just so fascinating. And look, this is what I wanted out of clear vessels, right? This is what I wanted. See here on the bottom, I'm actually going to turn off the spotlight so you can see better. See here on the bottom, the roots are starting to do the circly spinny winny. This is the I need a repot, I'm going to become root bound signal. But I can also see here on the sides, I've been able to watch the roots come down and watch them branch and watch them grow, which is just, that really hits all the buttons for me. That sparks joy. I love it. I love it so much. Look at the bottom and see. Now, some people say, oh, the roots are starting to come out the bottom. It means time to repot. In this case, it's true. In some cases, that has not been true. In some cases, I have been like, oh, the roots are coming out the bottom. It's time to repot. And then I take the plant out, and there's like one super long root coming out the bottom. My Dracana was a very notorious offender for this. I've since given it away. RIP. So I do need to repot this, and there is a specific pot that it needs, and there's a plant in there already. Drama. Roommates are switching rooms. Set that aside. Here's my satin pothos. Look at her. Look at her. She's massive. First, I'm just going to drain any potential. Oh, what? Okay, see this little slot? There should be water coming out of this as I pour. I watered this like 2 days ago. I watered it 2 days ago. And so there should be still water in the bottom. This plant has been drying out really, really quickly for a really long time, like 3 months. Like I'd water it, and then the next day it's like, oh God, oh, I'm so thirsty. Oh, I'm going to die. Especially in the new situation now, I have some scorching leaves. Check that. Little bit of scorch in there, just a teeny weeny bit. And also here, if I can show you, it's such a mess down here right now. Just a little bit. It was worse before. It was worse when I first got here. On the bright side, the variegation is gorgeous. And ever since I started, I've had to start watering this plant every day, every single day. And if I just watered from the top here, what would happen, it would just go, it would just drown right through. So I was taking the succulent watering bottle that had the spout on it and putting it into this slot here in the bottom to like literally tube feed water to this plant. You can see this is a leaf that's looking good, and this is a leaf that is, I can't do things backwards. Can't do it backwards. Come on. This leaf is upsetty spaghetti. I take all this as signs the plant is thirsty. So what I'm going to do is check the roots. Considering how much I've had to keep stuffing the trails of the satin pothos back into the pot so it can root into the pot, I am anticipating a monster. A ramen root arama. A behemoth. I've been pulling a lot of damage off as well. I am dreading this moment because it's going to make a big mess. It's going to make a big mess. But you're here with me now, and we're gonna do this together. Okay? So to start, I'm going to find a place to lay it on its side. This is not a tutorial. I'm just narrating what I'm doing as a grounding technique. And then I'm going to give the pot a little squeeze-a-roni, little massage. And maybe I can work it off. Work it off like so. Oh, she's stuck. This is a bad sign. Roll it like an onion we're going to chop. Is it the onion that you roll before you chop? Or is it the garlic? It's something. You're supposed to roll something before you chop it to like make it easier to chop. Whatever. I'm not. This is not Plant Pod Cooking Channel. Oh, here's a big I watered this plant like yesterday, literally yesterday, and it's just like bleh, dry. Dry as a bone. I actually don't like when people say dry as a bone, because if you think about bones, like in your body, they're wet. Bones are wet. They're covered in like membrane, and they've got bone marrow in them to make blood for you. Oh boy. Oh! Wow. Okay, here's the big reveal. Look at this. So I've had this in a really well-draining substrate. You know, it's got LECA in there. It's got orchid bark in there. And I'm going to show you the ramen apocalypse. Yeah, I wonder why the soil is drying out so quickly. I wonder why it's not retaining anything. What could possibly be going on? On the bright side, because it's such a loose mix, the soil's just falling right off. I'm going to keep the mix as much the same as I can. So now I got to do a little bit of tidying so that I can consolidate the mix. So this plant is a sentimental one. I don't know if I talked about this in my plant tour, but that video is almost a year old at this point, so whatever, I'll talk about it again. This is a sentimental one. When the pandemic was first starting in 2020, I had this empty tank, and I needed something to do. So I was asking people, what can I do with this empty tank? What can I do with this empty tank? Our snake used to live in there when he was little, and he had vastly outgrown it. I also tried to use these clips to coax the plant into rooting, and that was a failure. So there we go. Oh, free her. Oh, free her. Oh, free her. Come on. Free her. Are you kidding me? I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I hate this.
I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I hate you.
Oh man, probably one of my worst ideas ever. So what's going on here is that this is stuck. Stuck-o-rama. This one kind of worked. This one kind of worked. Let's see if I can get it off. I don't want to hurt the plant more than I'm already hurting it right now. Oh, I lost it in the roots. I gotta use force. I'm so sorry. Oh God. Ah, she's dead. She's dead, Jim. She's dead. There we go. Oh boy. Well, that sucked. I did have to cut it, and I don't even know where this ends. I cut it, and I shouldn't have. I should have just left it. But obviously, this cannot be the only rooting point because I'm not able to pull this out. It's connected to something. So yeah, whatever. Whatever, fam. Whatever. Pick it up. I'm going to shake it off now. Shake you off, cause our love, it ain't the same, and you keep on playing games, cause you know I'm here to stay. I'm not actually trying to free the roots and detangle them or anything. I just want to get as much of the substrate in here as possible so that I can keep things tidy. Set her aside. Check out that ramen noodle factory. Ramen noodle factory. So I've got two impulses here now. First impulse is to reduce the drainage, drainage capability of this mix, because this plant's getting a lot of direct sunlight now from the window, and so it should stay moist longer. However, my other thought, my other plan, my other strat, other side of the debate, is to actually leave it as well draining like this, because I'm going to put it in a massive pot. I'm about to show you this beauty. This monster, you'll notice it is double the size of this planter, which is bad practice in plants as we know. However, this thing grows fast, and I wanted to get one of these self-watering things that already had all of the hardware to hang. It's got a little hook here. So we're just going to go for it, and I think I'll keep the mix light. First, I gotta actually get the soil going here, okay? This feels like a bowl, like I'm sitting down for like the biggest bowl of pho ever. Oh, there's a spider. Hey, run, buddy, run away. I wish I could show him to you. He's so small. He's so little. I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to hurt him. What should I do? He's just a little guy. I wonder if I can like coax him onto this leaf. Come here. Come here. Oh, he's running away. Come on, get on the leaf. Come on. Please. This strategy works for isopods, but it doesn't seem to work for spiders. Come on, please. There we go. Yes! I got him. He's webbing. He's webbing. Oh, he fell. Oh, I lost him. I wanted to show him to you. Oh, man, he's fast. I totally lost him. I wonder if I can show him to you. Oh, he's so little, my God. Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute. Well, he's not going to get buried anymore. YouTube, see you. You're so cute. Oh my God, he's so tiny. He's so tiny. I can't even tell you what he looks like because he's so little. I mean, look at that dot on my hand. He's so little. All right, I'm going to try to find a new home for him. Now that I'm no longer about to kill a living thing because of my plant hobby, well, no longer about to kill one that I can see. Dirt. We need dirt. So I don't have any like perlite. I don't have any orchid bark right now. And I'm kind of broke, so I'm not about to go buy perlite and orchid bark. So instead what I'm going to do is I've got this old isopod substrate here in this. Wow. I've also got some Happy Frog and old coconut husk from our snake's enclosure. So this is kind of a use what you got method that I like. So here at the bottom that I'm going to mix in now, this stuff, this is Reptochip. Before you go out and buy Reptochip for your plants drainage, don't do that. Don't do that. This is used Reptochip for the snake. He has already lived in it and done things on it and lived his life on it and got his bachelor snake BO on it. So it is functionally useless unless I repurpose it. And in this case, I'm repurposing it as a drainage lightener for the plants. I'm not saying don't use coconut chip at all. Just if you don't have a reptile that needs Reptochip, don't go out and buy Reptochip for your plants. Orchid bark and perlite are probably cheaper. This stuff is expensive, and which is why I don't want to just throw it out after it's been used, because, you know, just because the snake is done with it doesn't mean it's going to be done with forever. It's still useful and holds water without molding. Very clean on a microbial level. I like it. I used it as mulch outside a couple weeks ago, and it's working pretty well. Don't you love this view of just massaging some dirt? We love dirt. This is a dirty, dirty hobby in a dirty, dirty house. My house is clean. Please don't take that out of context. Plant's got some old substrate here. Adds a little nutrient boost. I'm going to add some frass from the pods. This is just, once the isopods have, lived in their dirt for a certain period of time, they do need a substrate change. And the substrate itself is quite good for things that are not them, because you don't really want your animals living in their own poop. It's good for plants. This is why bioactive terrariums work so well. Any plant really. It's got nutrients. It's essentially compost from your isopods. I always am going to advocate for that use of old isopod frass in substrate. Not too much, because you don't want it too compact, of course, and make sure you lighten it up, because the ice pod substrate itself is light, but the frass is not substrate. It's used. It's consumed. It's spent. Now that we don't have a spider living in here, in our bowl, in the bowl, let's get some dirt going. I don't think I'm going to need a ton of extra dirt because the root ball is quite large. If you're wondering where I got this from, it's from Target. It was like $5, $10. Not expensive is what I'm saying. It was not expensive at all. I like the Target brand planters. I know that maybe I shouldn't be using that. I don't know. Works for me. And by the way, that reminds me, there was something else I wanted to say about the substrate mix I'm using, this kind of use what you got situation. I just have Happy Frog in the garage, and I have used cocoa coir or cocoa chip. I know that maybe people might think it's not the ideal mix. It's the ideal mix if it works for you. Let's see about, oh boy, here we go. More mess. No mess, no fuss. Yes mess, yes fuss. I do want to keep some of this, so let's give it a little shake. Give me a shake, give me a shake. Also, I did keep some of the LECA as, you know, more drainage. That is what LECA is good for, really. You can use it for a lot of things beyond semi-hydroponics. I use it usually as a drainage layer in my terraria. I promise, one day, I will figure out lighting, and I will figure out angles, and I will figure out cropping. I will someday. Anyway, here's our nice bowl of forbidden cereal. Forbidden Cocoa Puffs. Yummy. All right, let's take our, oh, I got another clip to take off. Can I do it? Can it be done? Oh, man. Can I? Come on, 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 come on. Ah, she's dead. Or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. It'll be fine. Whatever. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. That clip just was doing more harm than good at this point. Okay. Oh, what is root? What is plant? I don't know. People got me questioning. Where is the plant? Here we go. Oh boy. There it is. So yeah, it looks like, oh, this is going to be too big, but it might be okay. It might be okay. Oh, she's tangled up. She's tangled up. But yeah, this plant is sentimental because it's one of the first plants I ever bought for terrarium projects. I mean, it's gone through propagations. It's gone through nearly dying. It's gone through various terraria. It lived in the first terrarium I ever made. It lived in the first bioactive situation I ever made. It lived with my dairy cow isopods back when I had them. I mean, it has just been all over, and it has tolerated a variety of humidity conditions and a variety of lighting and a variety of watering schedules. It's, you know, I think people like to, I've heard people say that satin pothos is very finicky. And I'm not saying that's not true, but what I am saying is, for me, it has been so adaptable and so hardy. Just a little bit of a slow grower and not that easy to propagate. And my God, a slow grower, it's huge. Yeah, I know. But like, when I got it, it was not this big. It was a teeny tiny little baby. One thing that's still a struggle is lighting for me. I don't have a good understanding of lighting and what good lighting is. I know what bad lighting is, for sure. I can identify bad lighting pretty quickly. But good lighting? No. Oh God, why am I, what have I started? What have I started? What mess have I wrought? I guess it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna try to get, I should not have done this, but we're in it now. We're in it now. I'm gonna try to get all the leaves out of the dirt and try to have them all pointing in the same way, because I know some people like to rotate their plants. I'm not a fan of that. If the plant is growing in a certain direction, I think what has worked best for me is to just let it grow in that direction and adapt You know, oh, it wants light. That's where the light is. Move it closer. Also, it creates a very nice bushy, drapey situation. Oh, I remember what I was doing. I was detangling vines and such. Oh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy. Fellas, we're in it now. Say, fellas, somebody mentioned the door to darkness. I need to stop talking. Hello? We're in a tangled mess. Okay. All right. We're on to something now. Don't bury the leaves. We don't want to bury the leaves. That's my whole thing here, is that I don't want to accidentally bury any leaves, because then the plant will have a problem. Right. The leaves will rot in the wet dirt and be problematic. And I also want to make sure that the vines that I've tucked in to root into the soil actually can do that. Let's add our layer. First layer. We're backfilling. Come on. There we go. See, it's fine. It's not too big. It's fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. A-okay. Easy beasy. I gotta stand up to get a handle on this. Okay. Yeah, I've really put myself into a situation here that is not ideal. I'm gonna pull out the errant little guys that I can place later. I've had it since 2020. It's one of the first plants I ever cared for. And it's been with me all this time. And I never used to be a sentimental person, really, but there's something about something having been with you through so long, through so much of your life, like hardship and all of that. There's just something about that really is meaningful for me now. I think it took this time to understand, I'm mixing more substrate, to understand why people became sentimental about things. You know, it used to be, for me, I was like, oh, it's an object. The memories are not in the object. The memories are, you know, in my mind, in my body. So I don't need the object. I could just take a picture of the object or remember the object, but what I've learned is that objects are not necessarily the same as things we have consumed, you know, items, things, acquired possessions. Objects are, you know, acquired possessions are types of objects. And I was really conflating acquired possessions and things that I've consumed with all objects. So to me, sentimentality was just silly because it's just a thing, right? It's just an object. The thing is, as human beings, we create material culture through objects. And objects acquire significance through time. I need to spread the plant out, actually. It's probably a good thing I got this big, wide, shallow thing, or deep. I need to spread it out. The roots are piling on each other. It's not good. So maybe this was not a bad idea after all. We create material culture through things. Things acquire significance. You know, in some places you might have the like ritual goblet that you pass around the circle to drink the wine or whatever. That object has significance in a ritual manner. Or maybe you have a family heirloom that is maybe you got like a family shrine in your house, an ancestor shrine, and there's an incense burner that you've had for like, you know, since your great grandma. Well, yes, on the outside it is an object, but that object holds meaning because of its history in your family. Back to the plant, though. one of the reasons I am now understanding sentimentality is that when I see this plant, when I'm with this plant, when I interact with this plant, I think about how far I've come as not just like a plant carer. I really should be showing you this process of untangling because it's quite satisfying, actually. And not just as a plant like carer, plant owner, plant person, but just like as a person. From when I got this plant to now, how much I have learned about myself and my priorities in life and what I care about and who I care about and where I want to spend my time and what it means to invest time and energy in something and the result of that. Among other things that may be a bit too personal or whatever to get into here for this video. Not for this video, essentially. This worked. This rooted into the substrate. That's good. Oh my gosh, what is going on? I'm gonna actually zoom out a little more so you can see this disaster that's forming. Well, no, actually, it's not a disaster. I'm cleaning. I'm tidying. I'm detangling. This is the result of me just shoving and shoving and shoving and shoving the plant into the dirt. Shoving the root, what are they called? Vines, stems. I'm unclipping the plant mat so that I have a little more workspace here for what I'm doing. And so I can really spread out this situation. I've got two choices here. One of them would be to clip the vines and propagate them as cuttings. That's an option. The other option is to keep shoving them into the dirt to maybe root. I think option 2, which is what I've been doing, is initially more successful, but over time is creating this problem that I'm sharing with you right now. That's one down. This is just a behemoth. All of this to say, I am now more understanding of sentimental items and objects. Even though I knew intellectually that material culture is important and objects are important and can have significance, I just didn't really apply it to myself. Because in my head, I didn't really have that kind of attachment to anything. I don't have ritual objects. I don't any of that. But no, it's not just that. And I think there's a tendency to make, items you've consumed and items that are meaningful as one category. Because in America, consumption is an aspect of identity. Your brands that you like, maybe your brands that you don't like. Oh my gosh, look at this. Whoa, it's a jump rope. Yeah, I'm talking more about things like, if you like Monster or Red Bull, and like that's part of like what makes you is that you are a Monster drinker instead of a Red Bull drinker, or you like to shop at one place instead of another, or you drive one kind of car as opposed to a different kind of car. Consumption as identity, consumption as the self. And because I reject this for myself, I thought I was immune to sentimentality, which is false. I am not immune. And by the way, while we're talking about things socially that we may or may not be immune to, I feel it is my job to remind you that you are not immune to propaganda. And neither am I. We have disentangled these vines. The result as of now. Okay? I'm getting a little overwhelmed. Oh, blah. Getting a little overwhelmed, and I got to figure out what the next step is here. I have an errand to run it in like 7 minutes, and it's just not going to happen because I am neck deep in plant. I am going to have to chop and prop, which is not my favorite, but if I don't chop and prop, this is just going to become a disaster. Let's chop and prop. Chop and prop. Yeah, we're getting tangled in the plant hanger. just to prevent this from becoming obscenely heavy, because it's already pretty heavy, I'm going to just fill in the rest with Repto chip here and mix it in. Or try. I'm really making a mess of everything here. Really making a mess. We are missing precious substrate. So we're just going to go a little more delicate with the mixing process here with the end of the scissors. That's what I'm going to use. End of the scissors. End of the scissors. Just tossing it like a salad. 2 salads.
2 salads.
I think that's good enough. One thing I'm realizing as I do this repot and chat, I've never done a repot and chat before, obviously. Oh God, it's all tangled. Oh, I hate this for me. There we go. There we go, question mark. I'm realizing that it is hard for me to do the chat if I'm like really, really focused on the repot. And it's hard for me to repot. Here we go. If I'm really focused on the chat. Oh my God, the wire just cut this leaf. Oh, look what I did. That was a really nice leaf too. See what I mean? More leaves, more problems. I can even smell like the you know, when you cut a plant and it has like a little smell. I am told that this is the plant being in pain. I'm sorry, it was an accident, please. Oh, I'm the worst in the world. Yeah, we got to chop and prop. This is gonna get worse if I don't. So we're chopping and propping. I get really focused on things sometimes to the point where I forget that I have a body and I need to like eat, drink water, go to the bathroom. I did schedule a break in this particular repot and chat, knowing that I have this problem. I'm just going to cut this leaf off, this one that I literally sliced with the wire. Goodbye, my love. You never had a chance. That I've taken already, and I was like, I'm kind of hungry. Maybe I'll just have an apple. And I only ate an apple, and that was not satisfactory. I'm hungry again. So I think what I'm going to do is finish this, cleaning up this disaster off camera, and then come back. Okay, hi, I'm back. I remember that I had to go to the store, and so I just got back from the store and I'm exhausted, but I can't just leave this plant in repot limbo. Really, really ingenious thing I just did. I used a chip clip to hold the wires where I want them so that they don't get in the way. And now I need to root these cuttings. I need to stick them in the soil here. Yeah, I went to the store because I remembered, oh yeah, I have to go to the store. I have never had a lot of ease when it comes to going grocery shopping. I find the grocery store to be overstimulating and uncomfortable, overwhelming. You know, it's kind of, if you go at the wrong time of the day, it's kind of difficult to get the personal space I need to, you know, do what I'm doing, do what I need to do. It looks so weird with all this coco coir on top. I don't love it, but I can't pile more potting mix on top. I'm genuinely worried that if I make this pot too heavy, it's going to rip plant hanging bracket out of the wall. So I'm just gonna hope it looks okay. Maybe I can make it a look. Maybe I can make it look intentional. Maybe I can just be cute and quirky about it. So after I got back from the store, I was at that point overwhelmed and tired enough that all of my, you know, coordination was just out the window. And I was like dropping things and bumping into stuff. I almost dropped the eggs. Well, I did drop them, but I almost dropped them in like a catastrophic way. I managed to save the eggs by dropping them in the right spot somehow. Go me, I guess. And we're done with the store now. And it's amazing how much better I feel after having eaten. How much more resourced I felt to go to the store. I don't usually go to the store, by the way. This is something I started doing recently. What I used to do, or what I generally usually still do, is Instacart my groceries, because that was the it's a habit from 2020 and 2021 and 2022, and it's getting expensive to do grocery delivery. So I'm hoping that you know, if I can push myself just a little bit to go to the grocery store just a bit more often, it doesn't have to be every single time I need groceries, but, you know, just often enough that I'm spending less money on delivery fees. In the long run, I could save some casharama. Really, really trying to manage the cable of the plant hanger. Maybe a little more in the chip clip. Maybe. That's good enough. Usually when I chop and prop my satin pothos like this, I think maybe half the cuttings take. I wish they would all take. You can't have everything you want in life. I think this time they might all take because I am using a lot of the newer growth here, and usually when you're propping stuff, the new growth is better to use since it's already kind of in the zone, in the mood to help you, dude. If I seem lower energy now, it is because I'm lower energy because I went to the store. And I genuinely, literally, I had to lie down for like 30 minutes after I got back. Like, I had a headache, I was tired, I was dizzy, I was kind of emotional even, because it's just so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. There's just so much going on at the store. There's sounds, there's smells, especially in like the laundry detergent aisle or like the cleaning products aisle. The smells are just too much. And there's people. On top of all that, I gotta like talk to the people when I'm checking out. Well, you can use self-checkout. Something about self-checkout just does not work for me. I don't know what it is about self-checkout. You know, in theory, self-checkout would be like a dream come true for me, but it's not. It's really difficult for me to use. I think it's because, oh, look at that leaf, half dead. I think it's because every time I think about the self-checkout, or like I see the self-checkout, or like I perceive that the self-checkout exists, my brain just pulls up the unexpected item in the bagging area. Please wait for an associate to come help you. And that just drives me absolutely up the wall. And it makes me, you know what, because now I'm waiting for an associate to come help me, even though I didn't need any help. I'm going nuts. You know, there's a lot going on around me. I want to get out of there. I want to go home. I don't want to be standing in the self-checkout area waiting for an associate to press a couple buttons so that I can be free, especially if it's busy. I try to avoid the grocery store when it's busy, but especially when it's busy, it's almost worse to use self-checkout than to wait in the line. No, it's not almost worse. It is worse because I'm just bracing for the unexpected item in the bagging area, and then I got to stand there and I got to wait. And there's stuff going on around me, and people are waiting in line for me to just hurry up and finish checking out. It's a lot of pressure. The pressure's on. Look at all these nodes, guys. I got really lucky. There's literally 2 leaves and like 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes. I mean, there's a new leaf coming here, but this plant historically, eventually the new leaves kind of just die when they're down lower on the nodes like that. Luckily, apparently in the afternoon, it's not busy. I've also gone in the morning and it wasn't busy, so that's good. But I think afternoon is the ticket, like 1 p.m. for this store anyway, because everyone has gone back to work and it's not the evening rush. I wonder how this is gonna hang. Oh God, it's so heavy. Who made this? Who bought it? Me, I bought it. We don't always make good choices. I just watched a video from Unplanned Parenthood where she was talking about plant stuff that she thinks is useless or gimmicky. And I'm kind of starting to wonder if maybe this is one of the things that was useless and gimmicky and I should not have purchased, because there's going to be so much dirt in here. And that little metal wire hanger does not feel like enough. Yeah, after I finished recording, I tried to hang up the plant and it was way too heavy, so I had to uproot it and give it a lighter mix, which sucked. To hold this up, but we'll see. don't know, I feel like if it was really bad, and the reviews on Target.com would have been like, don't buy this, it's the worst purchase I've ever made. My plant fell from a cliff and it shattered into a million pieces and passed away immediately. And I had to, oh my God, oh, that's fine, oh my God. I'm backing up so I can show you this. This is the length of my arm. This is the length of my arm. What am I going to do with this? See what I mean about the overwhelm? We're clumsy now. Now we're clumsy. Now we're clumsy. I also wish I could like unclip the wire altogether because it's in my way. I had planned to repot the Drosera or sundew, the carnivorous plant from earlier. This plant and 3 others, but I am kind of getting to a point now where if I try to repot the other ones, I may end up leaving them in plant limbo. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. We'll try. We'll try. We'll try. I can't even look at what I'm recording on the camera anymore. I can't look at the plant and the camera at the same time. So here's hoping that I'm actually capturing anything useful. And if this video flops, then it flops. What are you going to do? What are you gonna do when they come for you? This has a good amount of nodes on it too. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You know something? I am doing great. And so are you, okay? You woke up. You are here. You are doing something that is nourishing to you, hopefully, even if you're just doing nothing but listening to this video or even just playing this video in the background and not even watching. You're doing great. I believe in you. I believe in you. Do you believe in me? I lost what I was doing. Here's another vine. The anxiety's kicking in. I cut this and I thought there were leaves. It's just a bunch of nodes. There's no leaves. Whatever. I'll just throw it down. I'm a hot mess. Oh, she's long. I have so many cuttings. What the heck? Why did I do this? I can't quit this because that means a living thing dies. So I'm going to keep at it because the plant doesn't deserve to die due to my lack of judgment. I'm also someone who insists on not throwing away plants unless it's absolutely necessary. Like, you know, the few times I've thrown away plants that were like still alive, it was because they had some kind of pest, and either I had tried really, really hard to get rid of the pest and I was failing, or I saw that there was the beginning of a pest infestation and it was spreading, and I knew that I was not going to win the battle. So I had to, you know, make a little sacrifice so that my other plants would be okay if this one plant had to go to the dumpster. Look at all these nodes. This is like node jackpot. Look at these nodes. Node-orama. And I love how they feel. They're just like, I don't know, it's so satisfying to touch a node. That sounds so dirty. I love touching nodes. Hey babe, want to come over tonight and touch nodes? In my next video, maybe I should come prepared with a list of things to chat about in the repot and chat. Because, like, genuinely, after I repotted the sundew, Drosera, I keep, like, having to remember what the common name is. It's a sundew. Genuinely, after I repotted that, I was like, what do I talk about now? What do I say now? I don't know. Oh my god, this is a mess. This is a mess. I really should be taking advantage of all of this surface area to, you know, shove all the nodes in. So what I'm going to do is just unclip the chip clip and move it to the side and secure the wires elsewhere. And then I'm just going to try my best to tuck in as many nodes as I can, because I've got all of this. I mean, it's like a big plate. It would be gnarly, amazing to just use all that surface area. You know what I mean? Just, I think what was preventing me from doing that was, oh, but I want the plant to trail. Oh, but, you know, it's going to get tangled up. Let it get tangled up. Who cares? Let it get tangled up. And then all the leaves are going to get wet. Fine. The Repot chip, I think, dries off pretty quickly if it's on the top. I don't know. Actually, does it? No, it doesn't actually dry that quickly. Maybe I should ask the snake. Hey, Gemini, how fast does the Repot chip dry out? Oh, you're sleeping? Okay, never mind. He doesn't care. I should do a video introducing him, actually. He's a real treat. I've got these tweezers to shove things down. They're going to pop right back up. It's okay. I get knocked down, and I get up again. Ain't nobody going to bring me down. I get knocked down, and I get up again. Ain't nobody going to bring me down. That's the plant, while I try to corral it into a shape. Now I'm trying to shove this in. Shove it in, shove it in. Come on. Shove it in. I'm not going to start over. Okay, I cannot start over. I do not have it in me to start over. They did, in fact, end up starting over. We're just going to maybe pile it all in and hope for the best. Because if the plant wants to root, it's going to root. I mean, have you ever seen like a pothos, not this kind, not a satin pothos, but the, you know, like the goldens, the neons, the enjoys, you know, they'll just whip out roots from nowhere and just reach and reach and reach until they find something. And I believe in my satin pothos. I believe she can do the same. I've seen it done. So, you know, it's her life and her choice. She can root in, or she can choose not to. I'm just trying to avoid the wire because I did decapitate a leaf earlier. I did decapitate a leaf. Yeah, good amount of nodes on this too. Look at that. Look at that. Shove it in. The camera blurs. I'm using my webcam. It is a Razer Kio or something. Yeah, Razer Kio. I think it's a Razer Kio. I got it because it had a ring light, and back in the day when I was working in my bedroom, the lighting was not very good in there. So I did need, you know, some supplemental light, and this, you know, the whole shtick with this camera, the whole gimmick was that it came with a ring light. And so I got it. And it is honestly like world's okayest camera. I'm not even showing you what I'm doing anymore. RIP. It is honestly like world's okayest webcam. Like, it will render, you know, if you're sitting still and you're on a video call, like, yeah, you'll show up. And the light will, like, illuminate you and people will be able to see you. I think this looks okay. I think I got most of them in. I just need to be careful when I lift up the wire not to decapitate anybody. Yeah, it's world's okayest webcam. However, when I have when I've tried to film with this webcam for YouTube, I've noticed that as I'm moving around, sometimes the camera will like go in focus, go out of focus, go in focus, go out of focus, and it kind of drives me up the wall. I just kind of worry that it's bothering people, and then they like don't want to watch my videos anymore because the camera going in and out of focus is bothering them. And I don't think that's unfounded, right? I have definitely been trying to watch videos and had to stop watching because like someone's dog was running around and their little paws were going tick, 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 tick on the floor and it was driving me up the wall, or like I've had to, I'm going to cut that vine actually so I can corral this better. Or I've had to stop watching other videos where, you know, someone was like showing off their bugs and like their kids were yelling and playing in the background. And there's like nothing wrong with the kids yelling and playing in the background, right? Like that, of course they should be yelling and playing in the background. It's their own home. It's just that when I'm trying to like absorb information and that noise is in there, it is kind of difficult for me. I've also stopped. Oh, I broke the node. That's what I get for shit talking people. I've also, whatever. I've also stopped watching videos because the audio quality was really, really poor, and my ears were hurting. Which again sounds really mean, and it's like, you know, of course, not everyone's audio quality is going to be perfect. I mean, mine is garbage. I promise you, it's garbage. There's garbage audio quality, and then there's like, I can't understand you. There's so much static. There's too much wind. It's hurting my ears. I'm getting overwhelmed. Audio quality. It's really unfortunate because, like, obviously I want to watch those, and I want to like know what the people have to say and how they feel, and you know, maybe they have some good info, or maybe just support them because they're a smaller channel, and I'm a small channel. I'm a minuscule channel. Yeah. All 167 of you, thanks for stepping by. So yeah, that is my worry, that, you know, maybe people aren't watching because the webcam is blipping in and out and it's hurting their eyes or giving them a migraine. Until I can get a better camera, though, yes, I can use my phone, right? And I have used my phone in the past. The problem with using my phone is that I can't see myself. So I don't know if I'm actually showing off what I want to show, or, the wire. I don't know if I'm actually showing what I want to show, or if my camera is pointed the right way, or if it's maybe pointing at something I don't want to show. And if I film a video, which takes me a long time, as you may have noticed, if I film a video and then I go and I'm reviewing the footage to start editing, and I see that, you know, the camera was pointed in the wrong place, or it caught something I didn't want it to catch, or something, like, it's so discouraging, because I just kind of, I did all that work and now the footage is useless. I know it's not actually useless, but it feels useless. It feels that way. That's my worry. I will get a better video camera eventually. There's just so many different kinds. There's so many different kinds of cameras, like DSLRs, which people seem to favor, but some people think that it is silly to get a DSLR because now you have mirrorless, which is better. Supposedly, mirrorless is like the thing. TM. I think that is true, right? I think it is true that mirrorless is the thing, just based on what I've read. If I understand correctly, what mirrorless is, a mirrorless camera essentially removes the mirror that is in front of the lens, so that you get like a faster picture, or a better picture, or a clearer picture. I guess it's better for like catching motion. And then you've got your, you know, standard digital camera that has like a phone camera that is just a dedicated device. This is so cute. Look at the little leafies. I like the leafies. Just admiring this cutting. It's cute. So you got those, and some of those have what's called super zoom, which, according to the photography buffs on reddit.com, when you get a camera with super zoom, I should probably chop this somewhere, but I'm not going to do it. When you get a camera with super zoom, you are sacrificing other quality in favor of the zoom. Other image quality, like, that's not super zoom, like just regular old pictures. And they're also cheap and they don't last very long. I still don't really understand what DSLR is. This could be, I think this could be 2 because there's a bend. That could be 2, yeah. I'm gonna trim that as well. This pot is gonna be great, I think, because look how big it is. And I've got all of this surface area to chop and prop, and maybe the plant will be okay in here for like 2 or 3 years. which would be awesome. Again, I mentioned earlier in the video, I don't love repotting if I don't have to. It can be fun if you've gotten like a cute new pot, but otherwise it stresses out the plant quite a bit. This cutting is not going to take, I don't think. I might throw it in a terrarium and see what happens because it's just got this one node here. And folks, we're done. There she is. Yay! It's a bowl of satin pothos. I am... Oh, there's a leaf that is not looking so hot. Maybe I can remove it. This is the one. Yeah, I'm going to just snip snop. No need to waste energy on a leaf that is not going to make it. It's happening. It's happening. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Just get in there. Just get in there. It'll be fine. You'll be okay. Your whole family's right beside you. Ba-da-da-da-da-da, right here where you are. Where you are. In you go. I hear crunching. That is ominous. But it is what it is. A little more cocoa chip or Repot chip, whatever this stuff is. Make sure all the roots are covered. I don't know how I'm going to water this. I'm shrugging. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to water it. This might be a take it to the bathtub situation, perhaps. Whew. But yeah, folks, I think I've hit my limit. So even though I had like 2-3 more plants to repot, I just can't. I am going to finish this up, water it, call it quits for today. This is probably already an obscenely long video anyway, so I'll just film another repot and chat. That might be better than this one. But yeah, look at that. This is a bowl of satin pothos that I made all by myself. And I'm going to take it to the potluck, and I'm going to serve it to all my friends. And they're going to be like, I can't eat this. And I'll be like, just eat it with your eyes. Yeah, see you later. I can't even point the camera anymore. I'm going to water this and hang it up and then lie down.